Hello. I know I've been away for a while. I've missed some of my uploads for that I have to do like every day. I think I missed two or three so far. So what if we just automatically just say this is now day 50 and then we move on a clear slate from there? Maybe you can allow me to do that instead. But yeah, I've been caught up with this that hackathon that I talked about. It took up all my time, and I didn't even end up winning. I didn't even crack the top 10. In fact, I didn't even crack the top 100. That's how dismal I performed in that one. But then I think that I'm gonna pursue more and more of them and give myself a lot of time to work on them and to find solutions on them and to just like focus and approach them with a little bit of more calm. Because if on average the winning medal for those challenges is like $1,000 and I win maybe two or three every year, I think I'm gonna do okay. And it's also going to be a very, very good learning experience for me for my machine learning. And I just have to work on it on the weekends because if I've got like 3 months time to like work on a challenge and I work on it every weekend, I'm going to do okay. But yeah, I don't really regret the time I spent on that one. It was quite fun to do, but then it consumed so much of my time. But then to make it up to you guys today, I want to tell you a story. Né? One of the most interesting stories that I have to share in my life. And this is the time of when I bought a car for the first time. So I went back I went to Zimbabwe. That was June or July. That was July of 2024. Yeah, that was July. No, that was July of 2022. I'd finished my undergrad. I'd been saving up quite a bit of money, and that money was enough for me to purchase a car when I got there. But then I wasn't interested in purchasing a car. So I was interested in pursuing other projects, and I was doing some forex trading at the time. So that money was kind of my capital for that. And things weren't really going well with that. But I told myself that, no, if I can get myself to a place where I can have like cash flow every month, then life in Zimbabwe is not gonna be that hard at all. But then I was wrong about that one. So so yeah, about 2 months from when I gotten home, my cousin, one of my favorite people in the world, hope he doesn't see this video. My cousin, he came to visit me, and then he had bought a car, and he went outside to show me his car and all that stuff, and I was super stoked for him. And he told me how much he'd bought it for, what he had like repaired it for, and the insurance that he had paid for it, and all the papers and all that stuff. Like now for me, like one of the main reservations that I had against buying a car was the fact that it was going to be taking so much money from me. I was going to have to be paying insurance for this. I was going to have to like pay like the paperwork. I was so worried about like getting the paperwork, so it kind of discouraged me from buying the car in the first place. But then my cousin showed me how easy it actually was, the whole process of it. And but then again, he was helped by his father to do most of that stuff. So that's why you're gonna see more about the story as it unfolds. So then thoughts in my head started peeling in about, oh, maybe I should get a car as well. Maybe I should get a car as well. And I had been planning on purchasing a car eventually, but initially my thought process was, okay, if I am able to purchase a stand, like a stand in my rural home, and then if I'm able to purchase a stand and I'm able to like build stuff on it, like start some projects and like really like live there, work on the land, start maybe a pig project and all that stuff. I could like raise a good amount of money, and I could have a nice operation working for myself. But then I talked to my mother about those plans, and she had encouraged me to wait for my dad to come through so that we can go together and look at the land and all that stuff. But I think he didn't show until it was like what, November, December. Yeah. So at a certain point, I just gave up on the whole thing because I was like, hey, it's just taking too long. I wanted to get it done fast. And I had my reasons too, because the thing with what I've learned with money is, if especially if it's in a bit of a lump sum, it goes away every day. It vanishes every day, just a little bit, until one day you wake up with no money, and then you ask yourself what happened. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to do things a little bit fast. But then yeah, so back on the car. So my cousin had shown me his car, and I was like, okay, maybe I should get a car as well. And I was only looking to spend about 2,000. I was like very hell bent on spending $2,000 only for the car. Why did I have that number? Because I figured because I had about $4,000 or $5,000 saved up, right? So in my mind I was like, okay, I can get a car for around $2,000, and then the remaining money I can be able to use it for building the homestead up and all that stuff. I did all those investment back and on the stand, and I was going to use about 1,000 to get the land, then 1,000 to just build everything else up. So yeah, the numbers were not numbering now that I think back to it. But then, hey, I was doing all my calculations on Facebook Marketplace, so cut the boys some slack. So this exposure is a bit low. Okay, so now I'm deciding to look for the car, right? And I'm spending most of my time on Facebook Marketplace. I'm just looking for different people who are selling cars and all that. That's when I was introduced into the underworld, the very chaotic world of buying a car in Zimbabwe. I should just do an entirely separate video about that, because buying a car in Zimbabwe is just like chaotic, and there's so much that you have to look out for, and so much that no one tells you, especially if you're a first-time car purchaser, man. Like, this deserves its own video. So long story short, I got numbers of like different people who were claiming that they're selling cars, and I would say like go out and meet them and go to the places where they're selling the cars from. And all of those places were looking so shady. Like, some of them were looking very shady, some of them were just like regular car sales places. But then I would notice sometimes that a car that is listed on one ad can be like, you can see it several times being sold by different people at different prices. So that's when I started to realize, some of these cars, they're being sold by agents. And sometimes when you're talking to the guy says, okay, yeah, we got the car right now, you can come and see it. And then you get there, the car's not there. And they're like, oh yeah, where's the car? It's like, no, the guy with the car is coming with it right now. And you thought, well, I thought you were the guy with the car, but he's not the guy with the car. So what happens is I have another friend of mine. At this point, I should just regard him as a cousin. A cousin of mine. He knew a lot more than I did, which is not much about cars, and he had a driver's license. He was able to drive, and at that time I didn't have a driver's license and I didn't know how to drive. So those two things, they're very, very, very key in the story. So when I was looking for people that were selling cars, something which is unfortunate happened to me, where I was looking at a car and I really liked it, and the pictures, it really looked nice on the pictures, and I went on the ground to look at it, and it seemed like an okay car. And next day when I talked to the guy, I'd be like, hey, so how can we like proceed with the purchase of the car? It's like, oh no, the car's already been bought. So then I started to feel a bit of pressure now. I'm like, some of these cars, maybe I should kind of like move fast, because they go a bit too soon. So Another thing that I also should mention is that when I like to do my things, I love to have them to do my things, and I need to pay somebody. I like it to be a person that I know and a person who's a peer of mine, which means like relatively my age group. So what I did understand about purchasing a car is that you need to go with a mechanic. There's a guy who's a mechanic in my neighborhood who's really good. I found out very, very late that he's really, really good. But for some reason, I just didn't trust him. I don't know why. So I was thinking, oh yeah, I could go with that guy when I go to check out the car and just pay him like a small amount of money, like $5-10. And initially, like thinking about it, that I was reluctant to pay the best people the money for that, which now I'm kind of realizing, oh yeah, that was a dumb idea. I should have gotten a really good mechanic and went with them. So what I did instead is I contacted a friend of mine who's a mechanic, and he said, no, I'm actually not in town right now, but then I've got a friend of mine who's a really good mechanic. You can go with him and he can help you out with that, with the purchase of the car. So yeah, I go with this fellow, and this fellow doesn't know how to drive. I found out later. So we found this car that was going. It was an Opel Corsa. An Opel Corsa. It was going for about 2,200 US dollars, and I was like, okay, maybe we get there, we can talk them down. So we get there, and that day when we arrived, it was me and Keith, my cousin friend, and the mechanic guy that my friend had recommended. So when we get there, the guy looks at the car. He says, "No, wait, everything looks proper, man. This car is straight." So I'm like, okay, cool. You know what we should do? We should take it for a test drive. So me and the mechanic guy. So the way that a Opel Corsa van is like, it's an open truck, like quite small. It's a small van, but then it's an open truck. It's quite fast. It's quite strong and sturdy. So me and the mechanic guy, we hop in the back. The dude that's selling the car, he sits in front with his kid, and the guy from the car sales, and Keith, my cousin, who's going to be driving it. So he starts we take it for the test drive. We ride around town. Man, the car's doing well. And then after that, we drive back to the car sale venue, and me and the guy, we sit down, we write the agreement of sale. I give him the money. Oh, everything is good, everyone is smiling. And what we did agree on instead, though, was that I'm gonna pay him 1,800 because we settled on 2,000. I was gonna pay him 1,800, and then I'm gonna pay him the other 200 in about a week's time, because I wanted to have some sort of bind between him and the money in the car. So what does happen is everything is agreed upon, and then after that, we're now leaving the car sale. So he's like, hey man, like I didn't come with any money and anything here, so could you do me a favor? Can you take me and my kid, and you drop us off at our place? Okay, Kid hits the car, drive, we go. So it's me, him, the mechanic, and the guy who sold the car, and this kid. We get to their place, we drop them off, and then we ride back into town. So when we get into town, we're kind of bit low on fuel, so I take out a $20 bill, load up on fuel, and then as long as while we were riding into town, people who are in other cars, they keep like beep 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 beep, like they're hitting their hura at us. So like, oh, what's the issue? And then we look outside, and then we see, oh yeah, the car is kind of like leaking water. Oh, so we're like, oh shit, this is not good. So we kind of like pull over on the side. But at that time in Bulawayo, there's like parking police, and the thing with parking police is that when you're there, they're gonna arrest you if you park on the wrong spot, and your story is not straight. What's happening here? We didn't have the red triangle to signal that there's something wrong with the car, so we kind of under pressure to get the car out of that particular spot. So what we do is we're like, oh, the mechanic guy opens up the car, and he's like, oh no, like everything looks fine. It's it's nothing to worry about. Okay, so we're like, no, not let us. He's like, okay, we should go and find water. Yeah, we should go and find water to replace this water that has been lost. We're like, okay, fine. So we drive to this other hotel. It's called Manor Hotel. If you know, you know, baby. I don't know what to tell you. So we get to Manor, and we parked outside Manor, and this mechanic, he says to us, okay guys, let's just park the car here. We turn it off, and we go into Manor. We go to purchase to get some water so that we can fill up the water coolant. And so mind you, we just turned off the car, right? So the car's still hot, and we go in to get some water. And yeah, we get in, we fill up the water coolant with about like 5-10 liters of water, right? And the dumb thing that we did with that one is so yeah, let me just like give you the story in small progressions. So yeah, we fill up the water. The mechanic is like, okay, I know you guys can drop me off here, it's fine. So we drop off the mechanic, and we continue on our way. So I tell my cousin that you know what, blood, I want to purchase some meat, because I wanted to purchase like a big some big, like a lot of beef, because I had a mince making machine. I was gonna buy some beef, take it home, slice it up, and make it into mince and sell it to people. It's like a small little side business. And so we get to the butcher. We see the butcher, everything is fine. It's like, okay, I'll see the prices. They tell us how much. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come back here maybe tomorrow or the day after that, because that's when I'm gonna have money. So we spin back. We get into town, right? So as we are getting into town, the car, I think I hurt my hand there, the way I was holding the phone. So the same thing happened as we were getting into town last time. There's people that are hooting at us. They're telling us, oh yeah guys, something is leaking in your car, you gotta pull over. So this time we see a free parking bay. So we pull over into the parking bay, and we open up the car, and that's when I realized that me and my cousin, we both don't know as much as we probably should about cars, because he hits the key, and the car's not starting. Car's not starting. And for me, I this is how much little I knew about cars. I thought that as long as the car was going, everything was fine. It was gonna start eventually. I didn't know that it had to go. You see what I mean? So he goes, and then he's like, okay, you know what? Maybe what we should do now is let us try to push start this car. And we're like, okay, fine. We push it out of the bay. We're trying to push start it. The funny part is, as we're pushing the car, we get to this place. We get too close to the place where we just bought the car at. So these guys were looking at us laughing. They're like, you guys you literally just bought this car and now you busted it up already. So we try to push it. It doesn't start, and we even get to a point where the battery goes flat. Right? And this battery, guys, this effing battery, there's so much stories that I'm gonna tell you about this battery, but it's still too soon. There's still so much juice in this story. Okay, So we leave. Where was I? Yeah, so we were trying to push start it. We're trying to push start it. It doesn't start. The battery goes flat. So we push it and we leave it at the bay for close to my friend's cousin's workplace, who's also a mechanic. I felt so dumb, bro, because like I was like, why didn't I? Because like my friend's cousin, his workplace is right across where we bought the car from. So I could have just like went with him, and he probably wouldn't even have charged me anything to just help me buy this car. And and then yeah. So this story is so long. This story is so long. And already we have gone so long right now. We're 20 minutes in, and there's like 40, 50, 60 minutes more of content from this story. So maybe I should like end it here. So where we're at right now is we're at my cousin's friend's place in town, and we're thinking about what we're going to do with this car, because we had bought the car around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and after all of the shenanigans that we've done running around, going to the butcher, going to the Manor Hotel and all that stuff, the time, it was about 4 o'clock now. So I was starting to get a little bit worried. It was like, okay, I don't have an idea. This car is not starting. What am I gonna do? It's getting dark. It's gonna be dark soon. How did I even get home that day? How did I even get home that day? Shit, I forgot I even go home. But then, you know what? There's like so much story to tell, because the incident with the car, it happened between like that. This is like a 5-6 month long story, and we're still on the first day. So I'm gonna like tell you what happened with the car on day 51 of making YouTube videos. And I've got so many of these stories that I'm gonna tell you of my failures in life, that I think I'm gonna keep you entertained for a very, very long time. So yeah, thank you. Let's go.